Good evening and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I am Aaron. I am going to be your game master tonight, and we are returning to Warhammer 40K with Cubicle 7's Wrath and Glory. We've been playing through the Litanies of Lost adventures, plus a few things that I've thrown in just to keep people on their toes. Tonight is likely the finale and or a total party kill. I'm gonna shoot for the ladder, and we'll just see how it goes. I haven't been able to really kill anybody except for Justin. I managed to annihilate once, but we'll see what we can do tonight. All joking aside, I'm going to run through the recap, and then we're going to get right into the action. So, for those of you who don't remember what we did on our last session, or who didn't get a chance to catch it, here's a recap of the Ostia run. The team was called into a meeting with Jackal Veronius, where he informed them that the Sisters of Silence, who had been working undercover in the flotilla, had uncovered a link to the leader of the elusive smuggling ring that had been plaguing them since they started working for Veronius. Apparently, a very special item is being smuggled off of Ostia by one of the smuggler's couriers, a man named Cyric von Stark. The unknown item in question was meant to be delivered directly to the leader of the smuggling ring. The team was ordered to intercept the courier, take custody of the object, and interrogate von Stark for information. The team was then directed to ensure that they secured the item and to keep the courier alive. Veronius told the team that he had agents in the field that were herding the courier to specific off-the-books smuggler sports and a chop shop where they would be able to engage the targets quietly. The group deploy using grav chutes and approach the chop shop only to see the courier and a group of very oddly behaving orcs blast their way out of the port in an orc battle wagon. The team's contacts, a ratling and an ogren named Len and Rocco, who they had met during an aborted auction weeks before, told them that the courier had had some sort of fit, crabbed his head, looked up, yelped, and then took off with the object with the orcs in tow. The team immediately deployed. Sister Nora, using her jetpack, took off into the sky. And the others piled into a Chimera, which for those of you who don't know is a type of Imperial Guard battle tank, or jumped on Arbides motorcycles, and the chase was on. The orcs and the courier were ultimately defeated when Wigbert Hahn rammed the battle wagon with the tank, completely destroying it and killing virtually everyone on sight. Brother Talib took custody of the object, which was sealed in a lead-lined cask that was locked with Psyker-encrypted locks. Sister Nura's jetpack caught fire, and then she crashed into the ground. Sister Celeste, using her Medicae skills, was able to stabilize the horribly burnt, broken courier temporarily. The team returned to Len and Rocco, who vehemently disavowed their approach to dealing with the courier, and they quickly escorted them onto the Arvis lighter, which they had prepped for launch. As the craft launched into the gravity well, Sister Celeste began to interrogate the heavily drugged courier, first trying to persuade him to talk, and then resorting to a more forceful and terrifying means of intimidation. The courier admitted to being a smuggler from a wealthy noble family. He said he had grown bored on the ducal circlet and was just looking for some excitement, and he got pulled in too far into the smuggling ring. He admitted that he was to take the object to the leader of the smuggling ring, one Harkon Veronius, the actual Veronius liaison to the Ministorum ship, the Prerogative. He had also overheard that this was a special gift for someone. The individual that this was a gift for was the leader of the cult of the Frantic Flensing, who is none other than Archdeacon and Captain of the Prerogative, Irsik Tandar. As von Stark made this proclamation, he died, supposedly peacefully, but behind the scenes, Slanesh was so disgusted by his weak-willed nature that it pulled his soul through the warp and is currently feasting on it. The team were also told before he passed away that he was already late for the delivery. The team had a decision to make. Were they going to take this object back to the ducal circlet and debrief Jackal Veronius, or were they going to try to capture this leader of the smuggling ring and perhaps get to the bottom of what was going on in the prerogative? We had a little discussion behind the scenes, and everyone decided that going to the prerogative was the way to go. So we're going to pick up with our group in the Arvus Lighter, coming out of the gravity well of Ostia, with a course laid in to intercept the prerogative that is currently in orbit around Enoch. It's going to take a couple of hours to get there. So, is there anything that you want to do or any kind of questions you want to ask for the next couple of hours while your ship is in transit?
The box that we recovered, we take a look at it.
Absolutely.
Maybe try to get inside.
You can definitely take a look at it. Birk did try to get inside it already, but you can try if you want to try a different approach. You can see if you can get into it. Just go ahead and give me an awareness check to give a general sense of what the box is about. Difficulty 3. Any shifts you get will just provide you additional information.
I got 3. 4 successes, actually.
Okay, with 4 successes, it looks like a lead-lined box, roughly large enough that you could put a football in. That is sealed, and you cannot actually even find the crease where it would crack open. The feel of the box is cold, but at the same time, almost slimy, but you don't really think, this isn't really a physical sensation. You kind of feel it in the back of your brain, in the reptile part of your brain, trying to almost scream at you to push this thing away. The locks are definitely some sort of psyker lock, and you assume that you have to be able to apply some sort of psychic force, either telepathic or telekinetic, to get the locks to pop open. There may be a way to force it open, but it's not obvious with the number of successes you have.
Then I'll top to the side and remark that this is our way in.
Anybody want to do anything else? You do all see that Sister Nura is sort of laying up in the side of the Arvus Lighter, covered in 2nd and 3rd degree burns, wheezing slightly through her Sister of Battle armor that has been scorched. Her jetpack is a broken, mangled mess sitting next to her. But she looks fine.
She's cursing at the jump pack, for sure. And anytime Palatine Celeste walks by, she's definitely looking up to see if she's about to get some. She wouldn't ask for it, but she wouldn't turn it down if it came her way.
Yeah, no, after the interrogation, she definitely would have moved over to start working on you.
So technically, this is like a regroup action. You take an hour of rest, and then the Medicaid can basically heal you equal to their Medicaid dice without any rolls. I'm going to break the rules a little bit here and let you essentially do 2 regroups because you have a couple of hours, so you can either work on Sister Nura twice or work on Sister Nura and one other individual.
Okay. Let's see how well this goes.
And you don't even have to roll. It's just your total number of Medicaid. What's your total Medicaid dice?
Oh God. Well, she's not dying.
Nope.
But dice pool's 8.
Okay, so you would be, in that first hour, you would be able to heal Sister Nura 8 wounds. So how is Sister Nura looking now?
How does that do you?
That'll put me down to just 1 wound. So that'll bring me from 9 wounds all the way down to 1 wound.
So you could work on her for the second hour and get her up to full strength.
Nice.
Would I be able to work on myself in case someone else needs her?
Is anybody else? I don't think anybody else is injured.
No. The rest of us are
the only person.
Okay.
Pretty healthy.
Yeah, she continues cursing her jump pack again.
That's what Talif wants to do, is he wants to see if he could take a look at the jump pack.
Absolutely. Give me a tech roll. Now, it's pretty beat up. You do have parts on the Arvus Lighter. Give me a difficulty 5 tech test. If you succeed, you'll be able to jury rig it and get it back into operations. It won't be fully functional, but it'll be good enough to operate for this session.
Okay. That's 13 successes.
Oh my gosh.
4 possible
This thing
shifts.
Comes out so
What do you-
much better than it was going in.
So I'll say, if you're going to spend those 4 shifts on repair, I'll put it back to pristine condition, or you can put your shifts into glory.
Can I put the one, because I think I can only do 1 into glory for
That
a
is
roll,
correct.
right? So I'll do 1 into glory if that's all right, and the other 3 into improving the quality of the success.
Okay. So
And-
basically, Sister Nora, your jetpack will be fully functional throughout this adventure without the opportunity for it completely exploding on you again.
That doesn't mean you have to use it.
Yeah. So Talof is going to bring the jetpack over to Sister Nora, and
I have repaired the jetpack. It seems as though there is a flaw in the design. As you can see right here, this is this is where it connects to your armor. It appears as though you did not have it properly plugged in. In addition, it is rated for people of a certain tonnage, and I regret to inform you that you in your armor happen to exceed the required tonnage. It is a particularly curious design flaw, considering it is meant for sisters of battle like herself.
Only the best armor. Only the best armor. But I
It
would
is good
prefer
that you
for
have that armor, because your talents for flying are insufficient.
It is newer. I will master this. I will master this. I have not mastered it yet. Thank you. I appreciate the repair. I'm sure it is better than it started.
I see. You are speaking aspirationally. I am speaking fact. You will probably crash and kill yourself with this, but I should be able to repair it once you do.
And so Talof was attempting to examine a piece of equipment, determining a flaw or potential improvement. It always turns into an insult. Every time I do it turns into an insult.
Brother Talof has once again, at the beginning of the episode, managed to meet his objective within the first 5 minutes and gain himself another wrath point. Well played, sir.
And Nura is highly awkward right now because like Celeste has just been working on healing her the whole time, and like Talof is working on the thing, and so she like as soon as is possible is going to like get up and do something to be useful, because all of this like babying her is not going over well for her. Yeah.
So about 10 minutes into that second hour, you get up and you're moving around the Arvis lighter, Sister Nora. And at that point, the pilot actually calls back and he's like, "Oh, we've got the ducal circlet on Vox. They're asking for one of you."
Who's the best persuasion here?
Listen,
that's me, right?
I have a 1 in fellowship, and I have to take a +2 to difficulty on any sort of fellowship persuasion type test.
I am
I'd
also
like-
not
If you would
terribly
like me
charming.
to speak, I will.
No.
Celeste, heads up.
I'm not terribly charming either. I have 1 in persuasion, but I have a lot of guns. I don't know if that'll help.
Not in this
Or-
situation, but it might
okay.
come up. It might come up tonight at some point.
I just point to the chainsword like,
Sister Celeste, as you make it into
Celeste,
the
I
cockpit,
think.
you see the pilot, this guy who's been flying you guys around for months. He's like, it's the Commodore, it's Jaco Varonius. He's looking for an update.
Hold
He's like,
please.
please, somebody take this.
Yeah. No, she'll take it. But like also Celeste finds it weird that he's reaching out to us this way when he has our personal Vox communication.
He's like, you hear his voice. Listen here, who do I have on the horn? Who am I speaking with?
This is Celeste.
Ah, Sister Celeste, excellent. I'm communicating with you because in this manner, because I needed a secure long-range Voxcaster. Your personal communicators would not have the
Got it.
distance to get back to the Ducal Circlet. I've just received reports from a couple of other agents I have. You might have remembered them. Lynn and Rocco.
Yes.
They seem to think that you may have murdered your contact, horribly destroying his body, and I would like to know if your mission has gone completely ass over kettle or not.
We have acquired all the information from him that we could get. This line is secure, yes?
Of course it's secure, yes.
And then she'll go on and just detail the information that we have, to an extent of that we got the information that he was seeking, and that we are on our way to the next portion of it. And once we land, we'll be in closer communication and reach out to him via our personal Vox comms.
Do you tell him the names of the people involved in this, the leader of the smuggling ring and the leader of the cult of the flincing flesh?
The leader of the smuggling ring has the same last name as
Yeah. I don't know if she would, because I don't know if she believes that this line is truly secure. She'll probably call Byrrc over to see if he has a way, if he can confirm.
Sure. Byrrc, give me a Tech 3 test if you agree to do this.
Sure, I shall do it. Ever since I got the flesh this week, I get bonuses to my tech rolls. That's why I'm rolling so many dice. 11 successes.
Holy
crap. Critical.
Okay.
I'm going to shift one of the possible to another glory. I'm just getting those glory, guys.
So you're looking at it, and yes, it's a direct beam, point-to-point data dump using a laser stream. So you can't intercept this, and it's encoded. You can tell. You're looking at the decoder on the Arvis lighter, and this is a constantly shifting, multi-phasal cryptic device. So the actual code changes like every nanosecond. So it would be virtually impossible. This craft was obviously outfitted for spying.
So yeah, he'll say is like, it is secure. So if you wish to inform Jacques Veronius about the heretical betrayal of his spawn.
Actually, wait. How are they related? How is
he's a distant cousin.
Of his cousin. You can do so with the assurance that no one else will intercept that communication.
Yeah, and then once she has confirmation, I apologize for being secretive in the beginning, and then she just details it out. We're currently on our way here to get with the guy who was supposed to receive this item, but I am sorry, I do think your mole and your moles are, and then she explains the two people.
Well, son of my own cousin, that snake in the grass. Well, please do me a favor and make sure when you get an opportunity to discuss things with my cousin after you thoroughly get the information you need out of him, I would like to ensure that line of the family is no longer allowed to procreate, if you understand what I'm putting down. And by all means, when you get a hold of that archdeacon, now I know you're Ministorum, and this should just chap you like nothing else. I mean, you traveled on the prerogative all the way here, did you not, Sister Celeste?
I did. So I will personally be burning him to ash and damning him for the rest of his eternity.
I do love it when a sister of battle talks naughty. So, I just need to let you know there, and currently I see that you're on approach, and you'll be at the prerogative soon. It's in a stationary orbit over Enoch. If I see the prerogative begin to move off station, I'm going to assume that you all have met some very stiff resistance and may no longer be able to complete your mission. I will be notifying the battle barge of the absolvers of the situation. And if necessary, they will destroy the prerogative from space. So please ensure that you take care of your business as quickly as possible. I would hate to have you atomized by our dear friends, the Adeptus Astartes. Do you have any questions of me, Palatine Celeste?
No, sir.
Well, may the Emperor protect.
May the Emperor protect.
And the box goes off, and it's at that point that you guys are actually coming into one of the main docking bays of the Prerogative. This large ship, it slowly opens, the void shields open, and you come gliding in. And your pilot's an expert, and he just puts it down real soft. He's like, I did a quick scan. Oh, it looks like there's one other living person inside the docking bay, and he's over by the doors. I'll hold station here until you return. Is that your orders?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
He looks a little nervous, but he goes, because he's heard everything you guys said, so he's a little nervous, but he's like, I'll be here for you.
Thank you. May the Emperor protects, and then she marches out to the rest of the group.
So how are you approaching the situation? The back of the Arvis lighter opens. The basic, this is just a very large docking bay. So you've got this flat area where the ships come in and land, and then there's ramps and stairs leading up to kind of an elevated platform, and then there's a door that would lead out into the rest of the ship. From what your pilot told you, there's one individual in here, and he's over by the doors. There's no direct line of sight when you come off of the ramp from the ship to this elevated platform, so you're more than likely won't be seen until you're starting to make your way up the ramp, unless there's cameras in here, picked cams looking at you.
I'll carry the package.
Okay.
And I'll lead the way
are
towards.
we bringing it?
Isn't that the whole reason we got in there?
It's bait.
Yeah, that's how we're getting access.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we have to necessarily bring it, but if we don't bring it, someone will just come and look at the glider and everything.
I'll lead out front. I guess I can do a stealth check since I'd be a very sneaky little boy.
I like it.
Yeah,
So-
Celeste would like to look for traps, cameras, danger.
Yeah, Talif can help you with that.
So 6 successes. Okay. You think you're moving pretty stealthy.
I have a shift as well.
Do you want to shift that to glory, or do you want to just increase your sneakiness?
What do we think, crew? Are we gonna need more glory, you think?
I would do sneakiness
Okay.
because we'll get glory as we go.
Yeah, those are contested checks usually.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so you're sneaking your way up the ramp. Who is falling after Azrael?
I'll be right behind him.
Okay. Now, you said you were looking for any kinds of pick cams or any other kinds of sensor systems in here?
I think Talib's sensing for any active machine spirits, looking for anything like that.
Give me just a standard Tech 3 test, and we'll see what you find.
All right. Oop, that's the wrong number. There we go. Only 5 successes. I feel like a failure.
Successes. But that's enough. So as you're reaching out through the motive force and you're feeling the machine spirits around you, you do feel several sensor suites. There's some that sense ambient temperature, radiation levels. There are some pick cams in here. They are active, but they're mainly pointed towards the void shields, and you believe that they're probably taking continuous video of ships coming and going so that they can keep track of transponders and things like that. Nothing appears to be focused down in the landing bay area. You also recognize that this seems a little odd. It's almost as if perhaps this particular landing bay, this particular dock, has been stripped of some of its sensor systems, perhaps to allow for easier smuggling of materials in and out of this particular area.
Yeah, Talib will relay all that, and he'll say, in probably a less intuitive sense, just like there are no eyes, no track on us, curious. And then he'll relay that up to Azrael, who's in the front.
Do we know where the singular life sign is at?
Right near the entrance, right to the door that would lead out into the corridor. or possibly into office spaces or any other area of the prerogative. Now, Sister Celeste, you've been on the prerogative. I mean, you spent months on the prerogative. Mm-hmm. So just give me just a difficulty 3 dealer's choice here. Either survival to remember the layout of the ship, or insight to kind of have a memory flash of where you're at, to get a better idea of what's on the other side of that door.
Okay, I'll do insight. 8 successes.
Okay, with 2 possible shifts. So you immediately, you know exactly where you're at. You've been through these docking bays before. You know, as a sister of battle, you've deployed from some of these docking bays before. You know the side of the ship that you approach. So you know that actually leads out into a main arterial corridor, a very wide corridor, so that they can move freight back and forth. But it intersects with the main basically elevator system. So it's like a tram system that will lead up and down the length of the ship and horizontally between different decks. And that's one level over. So you've got this very wide freight like hallway, and then the next wall over is basically like you see in airports, where you've got that wall of tram doors that open, and the trams will take you wherever you want to go in the ship.
Talof, can you hack the door so it stays shut?
Why would you want me to hack into it?
So he's trapped in here with us until...
Oh, do you mean to physically... You mean to lock it? I understand. Yes. You are using it pejoratively. So yeah, he'll try to do that. Like he'll try to seal the door on Celeste.
This is going to be a difficulty 5 tech test, which doesn't seem like it's going to give you too much trouble, but
I've rolled well so far, so it's time for things to go the opposite way. Whoops. Why is it doing that? That's weird. Hang on one second. My sheet just went nuts on me.
Whoops.
All right. So you said it's difficulty 5.
Difficulty 5.
Keeps adding too much to my bonus. Maybe that's why all the dice are coming out the way they're coming out. Huh.
How many days you supposed to have?
Yeah, like it's there you go. I had to like rejigger it. There you go. That should be correct right there.
Oh, nice.
8 successes with 1 shift possible.
Cool.
So, what do you want to do with your shift?
Let's do just the quality of it, probably.
Okay.
If we can.
So,
more difficult.
You sync up with the machine spirit that's controlling the security of the door, and you're able to interface with it at a distance using the motive force and your own talents. You seal the door, but with that shift, you recognize that the machine spirit is degrading or has been damaged somehow. At least this machine spirit for this door. And this kind of links back to what you were thinking before, that someone is trying to at least keep this docking bay off of anybody else's radar.
Okay. Yeah, he'll convey that. Like, is this the type of thing that... Nah, never mind. I was going to ask something stupid. Okay, yeah, he'll just convey that, like, the machine spirit has been degraded. This is just another piece of evidence against these smugglers. And then you can see he just kind of gets disgusted a little bit at the fact that they would do such terrible things to his buddies. And then he'll wait for his new order from Celeste.
Sorry, Ed. You good.
So as you make your way up the ramp, you get to the point where you recognize that if you take a few more steps, your head and shoulders are going to be visible to whoever's standing at the door. So you could pause there for a second. How do you want to approach this? You still have not been detected from what you can tell with your stealth check, and with Wigbert right behind you, and I assume everybody else following at a small distance behind that. So,
is there any other like ways other than this main corridor to get in? Is there any like access vents, anything like that we can possibly do? Or
You can either give me an awareness check, or Palatine Celeste can a D5 awareness check for you, Azrael, or Palatine Celeste can give me a D3 insight check to remember the layout of these docking bays.
Whichever. Just let me know.
You both can roll, and just
Okay.
as long as one of you succeeds, I'll give you the information you're looking for.
I succeeded 6 with a 1 shift and a wrath critical.
Nice.
Although, Azrael.
God damn it, Azrael.
Oh, complications. Nice. I like it.
1 success and a complication.
That's okay. I know what the complication is. You don't need to roll it. I'm going to tell you what the complication is in a second. Sister Celeste, you remember that these docking bays, they have ventilation systems for pumping atmosphere into here. They also have vent systems for pulling out, basically pulling a vacuum in the area. They've got scrubbers for any kind of fuel leaks. They've got underfloors for working on the ships and pumping in fuel. So there is a veritable ratway of different ways in and out of all of these docks, through the walls, through the ceiling, and through the floors. Now, they're pretty small. So this is where the crew of ratlings that serve on all Imperial ships would move through and do these menial jobs, these hard physical labor jobs, which is what the ratlings were bred for. You do not believe that anyone in power armor, let alone a 7-foot-tall space marine, could make use of any of these other ways in and out of the docking bay.
Yeah, so Celeste will kind of look Azrael up and down and be like, there are other ways, but we wouldn't fit.
I'll push Azrael on the back. They're expecting us.
Now, on to the complication. So, for my players and for everybody out there, I like to try to point out whenever I'm using rules that are not rules as written in a game, so that people don't go, Aaron, you bastard, that's not what the rules are. I'm okay if you say it anyway, but there is a set of rules that I really love from a game, and I'm going to steal it and shove it down the throat of Wrath and Glory for tonight. And that's from Blades in the Dark. And those are called clocks. And what I've got set up for tonight, I'm going to call the Clock of the Beasts. It's 3 interlocking clocks with 6 segments in it each. After you progress through the first clock, everything is okay. You progress into the second clock, I get 2 points of ruin, and any resolve or tests for corruption, conviction tests, go at a +2 difficulty. If I get through the second clock and I get into the third clock, I get 4 points of ruin, and your resolve and conviction tests are at a +4 difficulty. If I get all the way through the third clock, well, we're just going to see what happens if I get all the way through that. Now, there's going to be certain events that happen. Players can trigger the clock through their actions or through an interaction with NPCs. There are also NPC actions that can trigger the clock. So what we've done here is we've got a complication. I'm going to start the clocks with that. Nope, I'm not going to tick off anything, but now the clocks have started. And Azrael, you hear a very sibilant kind of voice kind of whisper over the edge to you. As quiet as you all are, my courier doesn't smell like ceramite. So perhaps you would just like to come up and make your bargain. I'm assuming you're here for a discussion of some sort?
We have a delivery to make. A bit late on it, if you can hurry us through.
So do you come up and face this individual? Do you come up?
I'll walk out.
Okay. He goes, oh, what a handsome lad. And he's looking at Wigbert. And we all know Wigbert is one of the creepiest individuals in the Imperium.
Yeah.
So the man you're looking at has got very dark skin. He's got white hair, but it's chemically bleached hair. He's probably 6.5 feet tall, but extremely thin. And he is wearing some of the most expensive clothes you've ever seen. I mean, he's probably spent more on this outfit than an average Underhiver family earns in their entire lifetime. And you see him just standing there. He doesn't have any weapons on. He's just kind of got his fingers interlaced, and he's just kind of rolling his thumbs as he looks at you.
This is the cousin of Jakul, correct?
You assume. There's not really a lot of family resemblance, but based on how he's dressed and the fact that he's here, it's more than likely his cousin.
This isn't a Drakari, is it?
No, he's human.
Okay.
Does some sort of Terran feline have your tongues, or is there some business you want to conduct here?
No, it just as I haven't been called handsome since I was a young boy. But I have.
Well, here we find those who look interesting, always handsome, and you are so interesting.
A packet here for a Harkon Veronius.
Oh yes, I am Harkon Veronius. And I see that you've got my package. And at that point, Wigbert, what is your defense?
4.
4. So you feel the air in this drop by like 25 degrees. You see frost form on the cheeks of his face, and the box is ripped out of your hands, flies towards him for a second, and then flies up into the air towards the vents. And at that point, you see a group of ratlings, except for their eyes are all black, and they've got these horrible black veins coursing down their faces, similar to what you saw in the orcs. And they grab the box and they scurry into the vents. It's like, well, now that our business is concluded, feel free to depart unless you'd like to stay and play some games. You see, the master has felt your arrival, and we would love for you to stay and play.
Well, that wasn't the only thing we're delivering. And I'll just stab him as I see it.
So,
what a line.
Go ahead and
where's the chase and how do I cut to it, you know?
His defense is only 4.
All right. Got my power blade whirling out.
I hope he's not a vessel for a demon. This is going to be weird.
5 successes.
Got a 5
okay.
with a shift.
With a possible shift, you're going to shift that to damage?
Yeah.
Okay. 11 AP2. So his resilience is only 5. So it takes it down to 3 with your AP. So 8 points go through. You see your blade go into him, and his mouth opens wide, and he's in this croaking voice as you see his eyes start to roll into the back of his head. That was the most delicious sensation I have ever felt. And then this force moves back up your blade, Wigbert. Hold on now.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
What is your defense?
4.
Eight successes and a wrath critical. Okay, so 2 possible shifts. You take 2 mortal wounds that can't be soaked as the psychic force burns through your body. And then all of you feel a change in the environment around you. As a rolling, clammy mist bursts out of his corpse. You hear weird echoes and screams coming out of this mist and it feels like it's trying to move down your throat and into your eyes and under your armor, but it doesn't seem to have any other effect. Except for within the mist, you see his body fall. And then as it hits the ground, it just sort of puddles. There's no flesh, there's no bones, there's no anything. And then in the mist, you see, it looks like the image of a skull floating up on a very long spinal cord. And you hear this hollow voice. I've consumed his flesh. Thank you for delivering another child into my gullet. I so look forward to all of you joining me forever. And then it collapses and the mist fades. And you hear the engines, the sublight engines of the prerogative fire up. And worse, in the pits of your stomach, you feel a shifting as someone starts to bring the warp engines of the prerogative online. Seconds later, you hear this klaxon throughout the ship. Warning, warning, Geller emitters offline. Warp impossible. Geller fields offline. Here, go ahead and give me a difficulty 3 tech test.
All right. If you insist.
I kind of would like it, yeah.
Okay, hang on. It takes me a while to put this in correctly. It's so weird. Trying to put like the bonus for my servo skull is like going nuts whenever I try to do it. Okay, that's 6 successes with 1 shift. So if there's additional information I can get, I would take it.
So this immediately makes you think back to one of your earlier missions where the whole idea was to take a ship and crash it into the gravity well of a planet while activating the warp engines with the Geller fields down to basically create a small eye of terror, a permanent portal to the warp. You don't know for a fact this is what they're trying to do, but it was their original mission. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's what Jeff was thinking. So that makes sense.
Yeah, we found those notes of that plan, those detailed notes.
So you think that might be what's going on here.
Okay.
But then the door that you had locked just slides open, and as it slides open, you hear the machine spirit scream and die, totally obliviated. And you see this black frost, just paneling the entire walls. Obviously, some great psychic force just tore the door open. And then there's the hall on the outside. The lighting is normal, but you don't see or hear anyone moving through the ship. And it's a large ship. It's a well-populated ship. 1 tick on the first clock has ticked off.
Nura would have wanted to shoot at the direction where the ratlings went. So they went in and skittered at something, and she basically wanted to fire at them.
Absolutely, you can do that. So while this was all going on, take your shot up there. They have cover. So with cover, they get with the cover they've got, they get +4 to their defense. So go right ahead and shoot off at them. So the difficulty is going to be 10.
Oh, good gosh.
Yeah, ratlings are pretty quick little guys.
And then I will... Sorry, I learned my things and then I forget them again. So I've got the dual wield. So...
you could do your multi-attack without taking the penalty. So you can fire
good,
twice.
Then I don't have to calculate anything. Okay,
yep.
Perfect. Okay, so difficulty 10. Roll that. Oh, crap. 6 successes and a complication.
Okay, so background, that's your second box on your pie ticked off there.
Oh, damn.
And that's the complication. So you don't get a second complication for that. If I use your complication, tick off a box, you don't get any other
Okay.
complication.
So unfortunately, I already said that I was going to shoot twice.
For it.
So I might just get another one. Shoot. Come on, roll better. Gosh darn it.
So-
6 successes.
You fire off both of your Inferno pistols. They hit against the bulkheads up there. It's just a really hard angle to get at them. And you hear them laughing as they skitter through the passageways with the cask. What would you all like to do now?
I think we all know we need to go to the engineering room and shut that warp drive down.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Now you also know. I will tell you this, Sister Celeste, with your or Palatine Celeste with your other insight rolls. You know that the ratlings. You could hear the directions they're going. It sounds like they are definitely not moving towards the engineer room, but they could be moving towards the main chapel on the ship.
I think it's just more pressing that we shut down the hell bomb that we're currently driving.
Mhm,
So I'm gonna start. I'll lead out front and start heading towards the engineering so that we can find a way to shut this thing down.
Okay.
He'll follow. Talov will
I
follow.
love it. Everybody going
But
that way.
Celeste
So-
will let them know that that's where the ratlings went, and that's where we'll have to go after.
Now you can
Nura
go
will
by.
follow the ratlings.
Okay, cool.
You're splitting the part. Oh god.
I love it. Oh, so Nura is heading up towards where the ratlings are going towards where, and you've been on the prerogative before too, as Sister Nura. You know, all the Ministorum people have been up here before, so you know where the main chapel is. The main chapel by the corridors is about a 15-minute walk. You could get there from just a couple of steps using the grav tubes, but you don't know how dependable that is at the moment. Getting back to the engine rooms is going to take about a half an hour, unless you use the grav tubes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna lead the charge towards that direction because we're sitting on a ticking time bomb.
Okay.
We can deal with the other stuff later, I guess.
So are you taking the corridors or are you taking the grav tube?
I think it might be best to take the corridors. It seems like everything in here is against us, right?
Doesn't it looks like a pretty hostile environment.
Would Talov know about how much time we would have before the portal opens to hell? Basically, like would he know with his check?
You know that firing up the sublight engines, that doesn't take long. But you would estimate for the prerogative to swing out of orbit, get far enough outside of the orbit of Enoch so that they could turn prow in and come straight at the planet, would probably take about a half an hour. But you think that to actually get the warp engines up to full power is going to take about 45 minutes. So you probably have about 45 minutes to an hour before the ship would be in position to go at the gravity well. Okay. Now, you don't know how long it's going to take the Absolver's battle barge to get here and start opening fire on it, though.
Okay. All right.
So do we take the tubes or do we take the corridor?
I'll just tell you, like, in character, Talov will just tell you the numbers and let you decide.
All right.
You could definitely make it either way. It's going to be cutting it a little closer with the corridors, but you could definitely get there in time.
I guess we should take the grav tubes in and have we'll see if Tal can do a diagnostic before we go into it.
Sure.
Oh, and the tubes? Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Okay, so Azrael and Birk Talib definitely get in the grav tube. Sister Nura is heading off towards the chapel. Wigbert Han, Palatine Celeste, where are you going?
I'll cut off with Sister Nura. I'll meet you guys at the engine room.
Okay.
And
Celeste is going with Talov, yeah.
Okay, so Talib, Celeste, and Azrael are going to the engine room. Sister Nura and Wigbert Han are heading towards the chapel. Let's start this first round with Birk and Azrael and Palatine Celeste. As you jump into the grav tubes, what would you like to do? I mean, it's got a standard control panel there, so you can you basically dial in where you want to go.
Yeah, Talov wants to hack in, make sure we're going to the right place, make sure there aren't any kind of security protocols up or at least get in there actively to try to just stay connected to it to prevent anyone who is trying to actively like redirect us or sabotage our travel.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a difficulty 5 tech test.
5. Okay. All right. That is 9 successes, wrath critical.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do.
And 2 shifts possible.
So you're able to link in. There does not appear to be anything wrong with the grav tube. Its directional controls are good. Security is tight. You're not reading anything from its internal sensors from down the line that indicates there's any problem at all in the grav tube.
Could he use those shifts to maybe improve our efficiency and time?
Speed.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to use those shifts? You could speed the grav tube up. So you're gonna ramp it up to maximum speed, emergency speed.
I am turning this to 11. Hang on.
Ludicrous speed.
You pile in, and the grav tube shoots off. We're gonna start this with let's go with. Well, it was Byrrc's amazing roll. So, Jeff, go to the rollable tables. Pull up the table that says Dark Prerogative.
Okay.
And,
all right.
And give it a roll.
Give it a roll. Okay. Interfere.
Okay, so as you guys are going down this grav tube, everything goes dark. Completely dark. You can no longer feel your own body. You can't smell your skin. You don't even feel your heart beating. And in that moment, you all find yourselves gripped with their greatest fear. So we're going to start with Byrrc. Describe to me what Byrrc's greatest fear is.
I think Byrrc's greatest fear is that it is essentially being corrupted and sort of disappointing in some ways, like his goal to be like this pure, like technological being, like everything is for the machine spirit, for the Omnissiah, and anything that essentially would somehow introduce inefficiency, inaccuracy, slow things down, or an otherwise like profane that worship would be his greatest fear, that he would be the cause of it. Like that would be it with him.
So give me a difficulty 4 resolve test.
Is this okay? I get a bonus on these now because of Rite of Pure Thought.
Nice.
Is this a psychic power or an effect of Perils of the Warp?
It is yes, it's definitely an effect of the Perils of the Warp. So yes.
Okay.
And am I also being affected by this?
Yes, you are.
Could I cast something when I feel it creeping upon us?
You could cast it for yourself. This is a unique situation. So when it gets to your turn to describe this, you can impact your own vision. But the three of you are technically at the moment physically separated. You're not even in the same space-time. You are in your field.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, you said a difficulty 4?
Yes, difficulty 4.
All right, ripping it. That's a wrath critical. Of course it is. A wrath complication. Of course it is. I'm still gonna go ahead and try to re-roll it, though. I know so let me, and I'm gonna burn one of the many glory that I've given to this party so far. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll roll a separate one after this. All right, so it's going to be, and that 6 came up. So that's going to be, what is that, 6 successes then?
6 successes. So what this looks like is in that moment, you are in a workshop, and all of your cybernetics have been removed. And you're just this torso and this half-formed head. And you're not able to move, and you're trying to lurch along this table, and you can see your cybernetics and your augmentations being hauled out, and you're trying to get to them. You're using your teeth, literally, you're grinding your teeth away, trying to pull yourself towards them. And then in the back of your mind, you hear a familiar voice that says, "Do not worry, brother, father, friend. We are always here with you. We will not forsake you. You are free from this fear. We have so much yet to do. And in that moment, you snap back. But I need you to roll on the perils of the warp table for your complication.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Figure that was coming. Okay. Let's see. All right, there we go. Can't see what I rolled, but I did roll
Warp
it.
touched aura. The mystical energies of the warp wash over you and infuse the landscape for 25 meters. All creatures in the area suffer 2 shock. In addition, okay, that's all that's going to affect you. So, Birk, Celeste, and Azrael, you all take 2 points of shock. And Celeste and Azrael, you feel this kind of wave of shock reverberate through you, but you don't know what it's from. But in that moment, Birk, you snap out of it, and you're back on the grav train. You do not see Palatine Celeste or Azrael, and the car is still moving. Palatine Celeste.
So one quick question. I know, like, I'm not affected by like the blind condition and stuff like that. So like, is this a case of like they're physically not here, or is it just somehow like my what would normally be my optical sensations? Like, is it that are they like gone from? Are they obscured from me completely?
Within the motive force, you cannot find them. You do not hear Sister Celeste's normal heartbeat. You do not hear the heartbeats of Azrael. They are gone from the motive force completely.
Excuse
at the
me.
moment.
Beats.
That's what I said. Beats. I know you got several hearts. I'm going to try to take all of them tonight.
Heard it.
There we go.
Palatine Celeste, what is your darkest fear?
Celeste's darkest fear is to potentially lead the God Emperor to ruin, to turn against her beliefs and her love for him and lead to his downfall.
So what we see is Palatine Celeste, you are before the golden throne on Holy Terra, and the radiance and power of the Emperor is washing over you. And in that moment, tears wash down your face, and you feel his love and his power right as you take your chainsword and bury it in the God Emperor's heart. And you hear him scream, and then you feel darkness radiate out across the Imperium. Now, what power are you activating to throw off this horrific fear?
So she's going to cast Shield of Faith. So Shield of Faith is a new skill that I got. So my indomitable belief steals my mind against warp witchery. As a reflective action, I can spend 1 faith to ignore psychic power or effect, including perils of the warp, until the end of the round. I can spend an additional faith to grant the same bonus to all our allies with the Imperium keyword within 15 plus double rank meters.
Okay. So if you want to go ahead and spend your faith point, this will affect you.
Yeah.
So as you plunge your chainsword into the Emperor's chest, you feel his hand on your shoulder, and then the chainsword disappears from your hands, and you feel his warmth and his power and his love wash over you. And the scene begins to fade, but I still need your resolve check to see whether or not you succumb to the fear of this moment. Difficulty 4, unless you have another faith-based skill that lets you offset fear checks.
Let me see. Doesn't have fear. Is fear, does that use willpower?
No, it's a resolve check.
Okay. Yeah, I was just checking to see if orthopraxy would apply, but it would not then. Okay, so I'm just gonna rip it.
You got this. Difficulty 4.
Resolve, fear, difficulty 4. My dice pool is 4. I'm gonna push this for funsies.
I like it. Spend your wrath and
Had Nura stayed with you, Nura has angelic presence, which helps
You
protect
got it,
against
okay.
resolve tests.
in that moment, when the Emperor touches you, the fear is burned away by his love, and immediately you are back on the grav train, hurtling forwards. You do not see anyone else on the grav train. You don't see Birk. You don't see Azrael. You are alone in this moment. Azrael, what is your greatest fear?
So here's the thing, right? Space Marines can't fear, so should be immune to this, personally.
Well, you may be immune to
Yes,
a
and.
lot of things, but you're not immune to this. So,
Damn it.
that's a good try. I liked it.
Nice try.
Narratively, I'm right there with you.
I tried to lure you out of this.
Your biggest fear is fear itself.
Yeah. Then in that case, I would say that the biggest fear that I probably have is not being able to reunite with my Primarch Lionel Johnson, make my way back to the Rock, and possibly, Caliban and my people being lost to obscurity. So probably that.
So what that looks like for you is you're on this planet. You've been there before. You can't remember it. It's a feral world, a jungle world. The lower half of your body has been absolutely destroyed, but because of your incredible Space Marine anatomy and endurance, you're still alive, and you're pulling yourself along, but you can't speak, and you see your battle brothers, and you see your Primarch walking away, and you know that once they get on those Thunderbucks and they take off, you will be left alone on this planet, a cripple, never to see any of your brothers again. Give me a difficulty 4 resolve check.
So I had a question here.
I will try to answer.
With my talent, where is it? Honor the chapter. It says you're subject to the orders of your chapter master and must honor the beliefs and traditions of your chapter. It says my resolve is increased by +1. Mm-hmm. Is my resolve normally 2 and it's now 3? Does it already put it in there, or is it 3 and now it's 4?
Yeah, it auto calculates.
All right, so okay. So is it a fear or a terror check?
It's fear.
And you said difficulty what?
4.
All right.
Ooh, you got it.
Nice.
On 3 dice.
I shall not be separated from
And so-
my Primarch.
In that moment, you break out of that vision. You have your legs again, and you're rushing towards your Primarch. And as he sees you coming, he turns and holds out his hand. And right as your hands clasp, you're back on the grav train. And then at that moment, all 3 of you are on the grav train again. 4 pieces of the first clock are marked off. You're much closer to the Engineerium. Sister Nura and Wigbert Hahn. You're in the corridor. You just saw them leaving a grav train towards the Engineerium. You can get on another grav. They're basically like capsules. So when one leaves, one drops into a location. You can go that route and try to get it to the chapel quicker, or you can take the corridors.
Jump in the grab.
Agreed. Yeah, if they went in and after Talib looked at it, it must be safe. So jump in.
I like it. So you jump in, and you put in the location, and you shoot off. Melissa, why don't you go to the tables, the rollable tables, and go pull up the dark prerogative table and give it a roll.
Sure. Nothing.
So you are quietly filing along. You know you've got maybe 3 stops more before you get to the chapel. You just hear some very quiet music playing in the background, like ba 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 ba, and nothing happens. We find ourselves back making our way towards the Engineerium. You guys also have a couple of stops left. And the tunnel is getting very dark now. You think this is actually probably natural lighting for the ship, because you're moving into areas of the ship where most people don't go. These are all the maintenance sections, where all the equipment is stored, and going back towards where the engines are. So this time, Ashley, why don't you pull up the dark prerogative table and give it a roll?
Okay.
Do what Melissa did.
Right?
Fingers crossed.
Enter
No.
fear. We already did that one.
I can
so
reroll.
re-roll it. I don't want to have you guys go through interfere again. That's just nothing happens. You got one listener. Exactly. It's an old Terran song. The girl from Ipanema is playing, and in and of itself may be terrifying you, but nothing else is happening as you get closer to the engineering room. At this point, however, something's going to happen. I'm going to make a roll myself here. A little behind the scenes. I'm going to let you guys even see this roll because you feel a shift in your stomach. Something is going on somewhere in the ship. But whatever it is doesn't seem to have the effect it was meant to have. And I'm actually going to erase one of the pieces of the pie, because when I roll a complication, you guys gain a little bit of ground back. See, I'm not
something
completely
evil in the background, like doing something, just falls. Shit.
Or some ritual is going on that is not, gone to the furthest extent they were expecting. So let's shift back to Wigbert and Sister Nura, who are enjoying a quiet ride on the grav train. Wigbert, why don't you give me a roll on the dark prerogative table? Let's see if that's going to last.
No whammies, no whammies,
okay.
no whammies.
Interfere.
Crap.
So Wigbert, why don't you describe for me? So what happens is just like the other, it's like this inky liquid blackness immediately flows in and completely saturates this entire capsule. You breathe it in, you feel it. You feel yourself being pulled away. And Wigbert, what is Wigbert's greatest fear?
Greatest fear would be I was never kidnapped as a child and turned to a death cult assassin. I lived my life as a normal, emperor-loving human.
I like it. So what we see is somebody who doesn't look at all like Wigbert, but his eyes are the same. And you feel day after day, it's like I get choked up at the thought of it. You feel like you were there for years, waking up in the morning, going to the corpse starch factory, rending down human corpses to corpse starch and packaging it, hour after hour after hour, taking your break, eating the corpse starch, going back to work, going back to your cubicle, sleeping, repeating it 7 days a week. The only breaks you hear are prayer time when you go to worship the God Emperor. And that is the life of Wigbert Hahn. Give me a difficulty 4 resolve check.
Okay, I have 4 resolve, so that's a good sign.
Good time. You got this.
I rolled a 1, but I have wrath points to spend.
All right.
Don't forget we have glory too. We're at 5 right now.
I failed. I got a 2.
Okay. So you take 3 mortal wounds, bypasses your resistance, everything, as this years of grinding at this corpse starch factory. When you appear back inside the capsule, you feel those years of labor on your body. You feel your aching bones, your joints. You look at your fingers and you feel this arthritic agony in them. And you can still taste the corpse starch as the only meal you've ever eaten. As that lifetime of servitude grinds away at your current identity. You have fear, and this fear lasts for the rest of the encounter. This is not going away. And so how many wounds have you taken? You took a couple before,
5
didn't you?
total.
Okay. Well, Sister Nura, what's your greatest fear?
So I was actually looking back to character creation notes, and Sister Nura's fear is not being able to keep up with the holy sites and holy relics being taken and overrun. So I imagine it's just like any relics that she has sort of rescued in this like enormous pile, and all of the like baddies that she's rescued them from are just all, sort of like dragon in its lair, just, in the riches of all of these things. And she's just like being made to watch all of
That's
this
exactly
happening.
what it is. You're chained back to an emperor's eagle, and you see these ratlings, just like you saw, dozens of them coming in. They're taking away these artifacts, and then you see them converge on a saint from your order of the sanctified shield, and they tear her down, and they start tearing her body apart and ripping the bones out of her flesh and stealing away these reliquaries, or what would be reliquaries, of this sainted sister. Give me a difficulty 4 resolve check, unless you have a faith-based skill that's going to help you.
So I have, actually, I don't know if this would have, you had a resolve test, Wigbert. I'm sorry. You gain plus rank bonus dice to resolve test because you're within 15 meters of me.
But he is not. You guys are completely separated in space and time.
Oh, that's right. So this does apply to me, though. So my angelic presence. So I or allies gain plus rank bonus dice to resolve test. So I will be rolling 7.
Should be okay then.
For my resolve, if I can. And this is fear?
Yes, fear.
Okay. I can't add. Oh, there we go. No, I did. Dice pool bonus. Okay. It is pre-calculated in there. And that is a 7 successes and a wrath critical in 2 shifts.
Nice. So you can put the wrath critical in glory. So what happens is, in that moment, you burst free from your chains. And you fall upon these ratlings with your inferno pistols, and you destroy them. They're become these burning living pyres. And then you see this saint rise up before you, and she puts her hand on your shoulder, and she says, "Bless you, sister." And then you are back in the grav train with Wigbert. But Wigbert looks different. He looks almost hunched over, and he's got his hands held up in front of his face like claws staring down at them. As the grav train continues on its way.
I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention to something he was saying. I mean, Jeff been going back and forth with Office-based references this entire time.
Well, okay.
Active chat.
So ridiculous.
Office Space.
And you feel in the background, you feel this flux in your stomach and in your bones. You've been around the warp enough to know that something is building on this ship. Come
on, get it together.
Back to
job to do.
Back to Celeste and Tal and Azrael. Your grab tube is coming to a stop towards engineering. The door slides open, and you see this huge engineering bay before you.
All right, I'll take point, head out, and start heading towards the direction of where we assume the controls will be to start shutting down this process.
As you move into it, from above towards the ceiling, sounds like waterfalls coming, but it's blood, and it's flesh, and it's bodies. And they begin to flood down into the engine room and begin to fill it up like a sea of living, writhing, dying flesh. You're going to have to move through it to get to the engine controls.
If I cast Shield of Faith again, would that have any effect against this?
Talk to me about Shield of Faith.
That's I can spend faith to protect our mind against warp witchery, ignore a psychic power or an effect, and I can spend an additional faith to extend that to my allies with the Imperium keyword.
This is not exactly a psychic power or a peril of the warp. However, you can use it if you want, and I will give each of you a single bonus dice to whatever roll you might have to make, if you want to spend the 3 points of faith to do it. And it's a pretty steep price, so you may not want to. It's up to you.
Well, I would only need to spend 2, so 1 for me and then 1 for all allies.
Oh, okay.
So I'll spend the 2. That's fine.
Okay. So you spend it all. I need everyone to make a difficulty 5 resolve test and a difficulty 6 conviction test. You can choose either one of those rolls to get a +1 die on.
Okay. Resolve is this fear or terror?
Fear.
What about the conviction? Is it corruption or mutation?
Corruption.
Okay.
Justin, what are you doing with your rolls tonight?
You're
You're supposed to succeed at them, not fail and get complications.
So I think we all know that complication is a piece of the pie, but
I know how it works, Melissa. Jesus Christ.
so you gain 3 corruption. Does that push you over a threshold that you need to roll for a mutation or not? 287. Let's see. What's your total corruption now?
I've never had corruption.
Okay, so you're just at 3?
Yeah.
I think you're fine then.
I'll take a tentacle.
Yeah, you're
though.
fine.
That'd be fine.
You're fine. Ooh, Talif.
Talib, however, he does get a wrath complication, so I get double corruption points, which means I do in fact get a mutation. Well, I think it popped up the roll. Yeah, I gotta do the roll first.
Yeah, do the roll.
What's the DN for this?
The DN
it defaulted
is equal
to 5. So
yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what it is. That's your
right?
total
Okay.
corruption. Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's 1 success. I am going to wrath it. Yeah, and I'll spend a glory as we have it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll take care of it. Roll selected. Plus
Can I
1
wrath
more.
my
Nope. Not gonna make it. Nope.
fear check?
That's only 2 successes.
Okay,
Go
so
Ninja Turtle.
go ahead and I pulled out the mutation tables because I thought that might be possible. So go to the rollable tables and roll on minor mutation.
Okay, minor. Got it.
Is it too late for me to wrath check or wrath roll my fear check?
No, I'll let you do it. 42 on the mutation table. Brute.
Yeah. I guess the links aren't working directly, unfortunately. Do you have the actual table? Running?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
So that is brute, which corruption massively accelerates your muscle growth. You are brawny and burly. Increase your muscle mass to an obvious inhuman nature. Your sudden growth grants +1 to strength and toughness. So you can take that now as you begin to get these massive mutations and grow about a foot. It's horribly painful as this is happening, but it is happening. We are now, by the way, into the second clock. Just for everybody's information. So, Celeste, how did you do? You did okay on corruption.
Failed my fear, but I passed my corruption.
Okay, so you're afraid. Azrael, you can go ahead and wrath your fear check.
I did. I still don't think I passed. I only got a 3.
Okay, so Celeste and Azrael are under the effects of fear. Fear has begun to mutate. Now I need everybody to make a difficulty 4 athletics check if you are going to attempt to move through this sea of writhing flesh.
So I had a question about that. It's in front of us. We're trying to go through it. If I click her on and start hacking through it, would that improve our chances to traverse these bodies?
This is more like a thick stew that you're moving through. So it's not solid. It's like a very thick stew. Now, I will say this,
like
though, Palatine
liposuction
Celeste, as you are moving through it, because you've spent so much time on the Resolute, when you're looking down, and these hands are moving up out of the stew, and they're trying to grab you guys, they don't have any strength. They're trying, almost like they're begging for help. But Palatine Celeste, and this is probably one of the reasons that caused you to succumb to the fear, is some of the faces that bubble up to the top of this stew you recognize. These are fellow sisters. These are fellow crew members. These are fellow members of the Ministorum who lived on the prerogative, and they've been reduced to this fleshy obscenity.
What was the difficulty again? 6?
Yes. Oh, no, for the athletics check is 4, sorry. But you made it. You made it. So Palatine, Celeste, and Birk.
All right. Also, God, why is it not right? 4 successes, but I
made
rolled a
it.
complication.
So we're moving in deep into the old second pie here.
So I also failed.
Can
And
we,
I also got a wrath.
can we
complication.
just
Do you want
cut it
to
out?
do you
Just calm
want
down.
to use a wrath point to try to get that up to 4 successes?
I don't have one. So
Okay.
what Celeste will begin to do is so her fear kind of causes her to freeze in her tracks. So she's not actually getting to move into the room. And so she begins to sing a hymn, basically final rites for all of these people that she's witnessing and these faces that she's seeing. And she is not really committed, or I don't want to say committed, but she's more so focused on giving them their final rites and hopefully placing them to rest than she is into moving into the room.
Okay. So as you were doing that, you feel a couple of these arms move up your body, and as you look down, you see they're not really attached to anything but a neck and a head, and it's the face of a dear friend, one of the sisters that you traveled with. And in that moment, you fall to your knees, and you feel it's not her face isn't even connected to anything. This fleshy face just slides up under the helmet of your armor, and you feel this fleshy face pressing against your face. Go ahead and roll a d6 for me. You take 3 mortal wounds as this blood acid rakes at your face, and you take 3 points of corruption.
3. God damn. So
But-
that would put me at 11 corruption.
That seems like a lot.
You are at the end of tarnished. You're okay. If you get 1 more point of corruption, though,
Oh shit. Okay.
you'll be rolling on a mutation chart yourself. However, Birk and Azrael, you're able to get to the Engine Seer console in front of you. It is not manned. There is no one in here.
Talif will look at the console, see what's going on, see if there's some way to kind of shut down this process. Because isn't the Geller field thing like a separate section?
Yeah,
like that's a
yeah,
separate
it's totally
thing.
separate. These Geller emitters are all over the ship, and it's totally
Right.
separate. Give me a difficulty 8 tech test.
All right, difficulty 8. All right, so let me use where's my boy?
All right, come on, Hester. Over here. We must do this.
All right, well, 7 successes and a wrath complication. I do have one more wrath that I will use to re-roll, because I do. So I will go ahead and do that. This is important.
Want a glory since we're max?
I will take a glory. Thank you for that.
Nice.
And then I will reroll selected, plus 1 more. Okay, that's a very good reroll. 14 successes. I'm sorry, 15 successes.
Nice. 3 possible shifts.
4 possible shifts, because I think I got a 6 on the glory roll. So 4 possible shifts. I'll restock the glory that I just used.
So up to 6.
And then quality and speed, or whatever.
You're able to commune with the machine spirit. You're able to access the sublight engines and turn them off. And not just turn them off, you're able to put them in a long diagnostic mode, so they cannot be refired within the next week. I mean, it's basically, this ship is going to fall out of orbit regardless under these circumstances now, probably. However, you're not able to shut down the warp engine. But with those shifts, I will say that you're able to fabricate a warp power loop in the engines. So they will self-detonate long before the ship can go into orbit. And since it's already, the engines are shut down, it's in a decaying orbit anyway.
Gotcha.
So you're going to be able to use the warp engines to blow up the ship, but you're not able to shut the warp engines down.
Okay. He will debrief in layman's terms for Celeste and Azrael what he just did. And effectively, like, there's now a different timer that we're on when it comes to like the self-destruct.
For everybody's information, we're well into clock 2 now. Any more resolve or conviction tests you will have to take. The difficulty will be increased by 2. So I will give you the new difficulty as opposed to what the standard difficulty was going to be for those if they should come up. Back to Sister Nura and Wigbert Hahn. This grab tube shuts, slides open, and you're facing the great double doors to the main chapel on the prerogative ship. These doors are normally golden with the image of the God Emperor on his throne, but now they are rusted, and there's veins of black going through them. A stench of fecal matter wafts through the air, and the God Emperor has been defaced, and in his place on the golden throne is an androgynous figure with one crab-clawed arm, one breast, holding a great black sword, and smiling wickedly. What would you like to do?
Give me, sister. I'm just a factory worker. I don't know what help I can be of you.
Nura just looks at Wigbert, and just sort of with her arm, just gives him a good sock in the arm. Get it together.
Yes.
And Wigbert, in that moment, you're feeling, you feel yourself. You know yourself, but it's like you've lived 2 lives, and they're both inside you now. But you're capable of being the assassin that you've always been, but you feel the weight of this other life pulling down on you.
Yeah, it's like my body reflexively knows what it's doing, but my mind is...
Exactly. You're torn mentally by this. But you are facing this great corrupted door. What would you like to do?
So the door is open or the door is closed?
The door is closed, but you know that it's one of those doors on those perfect pivots. It like just takes a couple ounces of pressure to open it, and it's never locked because the chapel to the God Emperor never turns away a supplicant.
Yeah, so she's gonna just sort of, just disappointed at just with disgust at how this has been treated and whatnot, and then will just force the door open.
Okay. The doors open, and this is a huge chapel, and the air is thick with this deep, dark red fog moving up the main aisle towards the ritual area. And as you move closer, it's got a coppery smell to it. And as this fog enters your nose and your throat, it is a mist of dried blood. And as you look off to the left and the right, you see coming through the pews it's like the fog, but it's more solid. It's almost like this gelatinous fog pressing against it, and pressing through it. You see hands pressing through and faces pressing through. Some of them human, some of them not. I need both you and Wigbert to give me a difficulty 6 resolve and a difficulty 6 conviction test. Would have been difficulty 4, but it's difficulty 6 now.
So now we are 15 meters within each other. So we
yes, you can absolutely,
because of angelic presence, we both get +3 to our dice pool.
So awesome. You get an additional 3, Wigbert, on your resolve test.
Okay.
Yeah. So DN 6, rolling 7 dice, got 7 successes on the fear check.
So the God Emperor keeps you strong.
Also a 6 on the fear, so that helped me a lot.
So both of you, this extra life of yours, this drudgery of this life is almost insulating you from this fear, because it's the weight of that entire life is almost a fog to your emotions. You want to wrath that, or do you have any wrath
Yes, I
left?
would. So my corruption, I rolled 3. I will spend a wrath and a glory.
All right.
If someone can tick down the glory.
I failed my corruption, so gaining 5. I also.
Do you have wrath points? Do you want to try to deal with that, or?
Let me see if it's possible. I need a 7.
It'd be a hard roll to make, yeah.
No, I'll just take the corruption on.
Okay, so what is your total corruption now?
12.
12.
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
so you are now contaminated. I need you to roll a mutation test. So it's a conviction test mutation. The difficulty is 13.
I'm sorry, I'm rolling a what?
So you go into combat, go to conviction, and hit the mutation
another one.
tab.
Okay, gotcha. That's a failure.
That's a failure. So roll your mutation.
It's another minor.
Well, it'll a minor mutation. If you just hit the roll mutation, it'll come up. It could go up to a severe 53. Let's see what that is. Corrosive miasma. This is the same thing that Vintael had. It kind of makes sense for an assassin. Whenever you suffer a complication, you may choose to have one item of war gear crumble and become useless. Or the GM can spend a point of rune to choose an item of your war gear when you make a melee attack. When you make a melee attack, you may shift to give the target the poisoned condition with a damage of 1 mortal wound. So whenever you attack somebody with a melee attack, if you get a wrath critical, you can give them a mortal wound due to the poison. But this cloud of toxicity kind of just flows out of your pores right now, and you're smelling it, and it smells like corpse starch as it oozes out of your pores around you. What would you guys like to do? Neither one of you are afraid. You can move through this blood mist towards the nave.
Then I'll push through.
Yeah, Nura would as well. She's ignoring kind of the hands and all of that. Like she's on a mission.
As you get closer, the mist thins a little bit as you get near the nave. And at the center, there's a large cleared out area where the pews have been pushed back. The altar's been thrown over. The double eagle of the emperor has been desecrated. And you see Irsik Tandar, this tall, gaunt, pale man, nude, standing, and surrounding him, connected by balefire energy, are 5 objects that are slowly rotating around him through the mists, through the gelatinous material around him. You see them and you recognize them. The first that comes towards you, you see a flayed body grafted to an old yellow-boned frame. Muscle and bone are exposed, except for his face, which is perfect. A face you know. The face of Gavious Vintael. His eyes aware, pleading with you. His voice open, this hoarse scream coming out, barely audible. He's obviously been screaming for months. But there's intelligence in his eyes. There's sanity in his eyes. He hasn't been broken, but he has been destroyed. And as he floats past, his head trying to turn, but it's grafted to this bone frame, his eyes trying to track you. The next thing you see is the pall of Turnia comes floating before you, and it's been stitched into a fleshy blanket of obvious human flesh. You can see fingers trailing off of it. But the most horrifying thing is you recognize the tattoos on the flesh. These are the tattoos of your battle sisters. Sisters of the Sanctified Shield have been skinned alive, and the pall of Eternia has been stitched into their living flesh. It floats by you, and another object becomes visible. The thigh bone of Saint Hephaestium that you yourselves rescued, capped in black iron, with this swirling black smoke screaming around it, trying to crack the bone itself. Next, a helmet comes into view, a pinkish color helmet. A helmet that you've seen before. The helmet of the Chaos Champion, of the Emperor's Children, whose stasis coffin was being auctioned off. But out of that helmet, out of the eye slits, black blood continuously flows on the ground, and where it hits, it steams. And then finally, something you've never seen before. A gem the size of a football, made of black obsidian with veins of amethyst coursing through it. And then you hear the voice of the cult magister, Tandar, the archdeacon, Tandar, the vessel of Slaanesh, perhaps. Oh dear, thank you for bringing Slaanesh's heart of hunger to me. It was the last artifact I needed for this great ritual. I shall so enjoy your audience. And then we slide back to Birk, Azrael,
Oh no.
and Sister Celeste, as the second pie is full, and you feel this horrible wrenching in your gut, and you know that something horrible on this ship has happened. You feel the ship's walls start to shimmer. They no longer look like steel deck plates completely. Some of them look like veiny flesh. You hear wails, inhuman wails, reverberating through the ship, and cracks appearing in the floor. But when you look down, you see the rainbow colors of the warp. What would you like to do?
We need to make our way back to
The chapel.
to the elevators and head back that way. Is it going to be as difficult going back as it was going through? I mean,
I don't know. I guess you're going to find out.
we carved a path, right?
Oh, you mean out of the engine room? Out of the engine suit? Yeah, you can get right out of that. I mean, the flesh is not going to stop you again. You can able to just turn and walk back through. I'm not that evil. I've got so much other horrible things to happen. You could get out of the engine room with no problem.
So, seeing how two pies are full and we're feeling the tension, all this crazy stuff's happened, it might be worth our time to do another diagnostics check of this grav tube and see if maybe there might be some stuff heading our way again, I guess, or...
Well, because there wasn't anything technical that was the issue. Like,
Yeah, the clock's ticking. Like either we try to do something here in the engineerium to literally just destroy the ship if we can, or like right now, like rather than wait, or I think we push.
I think we just push back. I mean, we could end the campaign right now, right? But
you could try. Yes.
Let's just get back. Let's get back and have fun with the giant.
I mean, Talib is totally fine with blowing it up, but he's doing he's following with the demigod orders.
So let us return to our entrance and head back towards the chapel.
So are you sure there's enough time for this? I could destroy the ship right now.
I understand your desire to rid this galaxy of such heresy, but we must do what is best to try and preserve the life of our friends. Emperor willing.
He just makes a face because like he doesn't know who you're referring to.
Friends?
And then he'll follow you.
So are you going back to the grav tube? Are you going to run down the corridors?
I still go back to the grav tube.
Fastest conceivable way, in theory, is how we would go. Let's not overthink it. Like, if something happens, something happens. But that's the decision I think we would make.
So you can get to the grav tube. If you can do this, you can do a difficulty 10 tech test.
Oh dear.
If you succeed, you can basically just blow the brakes off of this thing, and it will shoot like a rocket towards the chapel. But at the end, you're all going to have to make athletics checks or suffer some damage. Or you can just ride it the normal way and see how things go.
I mean, I could try.
It's up to you. I'm just giving you the option.
It's definitely possible. I have 12 dice in my pool, but I'm out of wrath, so I can't reroll if... So
I mean, if you fail, it's just a normal grav tube. So unless you get a complication, you'll be okay.
Well, here it comes then. 10 successes and a critical.
Exactly. Nice.
So, what's it look like when you do this? What's it look like when this thing shoots off like a bullet?
So I think he goes in and he sturdies himself. He like takes his staff, wraps it in his robe, and just like jams it into a rail or something like that. Doesn't tell the two of them necessarily, and then just says, "Punch it." And then he just reaches in, twists with his hand, and you can see like the electrical sparks just start coursing through him. And you can see he's not just physically adjusting this thing, but he's manipulating the flow of energy in here as well.
And the motive force reacts to this, and this grav tube, this grav capsule just shoots down this grav tube at a faster pace than it was ever meant to go. Sister Nura, Wigbert, you now begin to see that Irsik Tandar begins to flicker. One moment he looks like this tall, gaunt man, and the next second he looks like this androgynous being with one breast and this claw-like arm and this great sword. And they lick this long, prehensile tongue out. It's at least 4 feet long. It licks down and around their body and then sucks back up. And it says, "Come, dears. Come. This is what you wanted. Join me in an orgy of death."
Can't refuse his invitation. So Archdeacon, yeah. Heresians here. I'll charge towards them.
And as you charge in, Wigbert, this being moves with such unbelievable speed that it almost looks like at one moment they're a few feet away from you, and the next moment there's a blade coming at your throat. What is your defense? Because they have a special ability called Disquieting Creature of Quicksilver. Allows them to automatically seize the initiative without spending ruin.
I've got a 4.
4 defense. This will be fine. It'll be fine.
Sheesh.
Oh gosh.
What is your resilience?
7.
7. Okay, so it's down to 3. You take 18 wounds. What is Wigbert's maximum wounds?
9. Can I roll determination at all?
You can. I would strongly recommend it.
I'd like to attempt to. Well, it looks good. 2, 4,
Wow.
6. So I take 6 more off.
Okay, so you take 6 shock and 12 wounds.
No.
All right. I do go over my wound limit.
Okay, so we need to roll a traumatic injury for you. Get there.
Ouch.
Well, that was...
Yes, Chad, that seems bad.
You know, it's one of those
Okay.
things. You'd think end of a campaign boss would be a little nicer, but he's not. They're not. They're horrible.
Could try to negotiate. Like, we didn't even try to talk. Like, negotiate.
Didn't even try. I know.
Let me try.
We
Don't
could have
negotiate with
joined.
heretics.
Roll a d6 for me, Wigbert.
D6. A 5.
5. So yeah, you see this, Sister Nora. You see this blade pass through Wigbert's body, and it looks like his liver goes shooting out of his back, and he falls prone on the ground, deeply, deeply injured.
So I have a duty until death. So when I suffer my max wounds, I can activate this talent and take my next turn normally, and then after that I'll start dying.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. That's going to make
Nice.
things. So it is. You guys are up. So Wigbert, you can take your turn normally if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm muttering my breath. My lungs are filling with blood. From this heresy.
In this moment, right before you begin to act, both of you feel a presence. Actually, all 5 of you feel a presence in your mind. And everyone here, except for Azrael, hears a voice you thought you would never hear again. You must free me from the cradle. The ritual will be broken, and it will weaken Tandar. And it is the voice of Gavious, your old Inquisitor frenemy.
Okay. Before I hear that voice, I do get a counterattack as one of my talents. So when I'm struck
Yes.
by an enemy, I get a free hit.
I love it. His defense is 9.
That's pretty good. I rolled a 5. I would like to wrath that
I like it.
You
When-
could take glory,
glory.
as well.
as well. Would be nice. What a 2. A 10 total with a crit.
Nice. Okay, roll your
Nice.
crit.
A headshot.
Nice.
Damage is 10.
10 AP2 and 2 additional wounds, so that's 12 AP2. You see as your blade goes in, what should have been, you would think, normally a killing blow scrapes across his body. You do see a little bit of black blood come out, but nowhere near what you were expecting to see. And that tongue flicks out like almost too fast to see and licks up the blood. And then you just see this horrible smile that almost splits this creature's head. Tandar / this Slaneshi thing. Oh, thank you, my dear sweet. Soon you will sit in my court with me.
From this heresy. Oh, Emperor, deliver us. I'll turn towards what was known as Gavious and do my final
Okay.
strike towards him.
All right, go ahead and roll. It's difficulty 4.
Oh, I got
Nice.
4 just enough.
So you crack through with your blade and break free this cradle that he's in, and his body slumps to the ground. And you see for the first time, you see a look of anger on Tandar's face. And then he lashes out, spending a point of ruin to take a ruin action, and strikes at Sister Nura with this horrible blade of his.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. What's your defense?
3.
Okay. 3 shifts. And what is your resilience?
10.
10. Nice. Okay. AP
So
4. So
13.
22 minus 6 is 20 16.
Yeah, that's...
Your resilience is
Roll your
10.
determination.
Yeah, you can roll your determination too.
Yeah. So that's 2. So that's bad. So that's 2 that goes
2 to shock, 14
shock
because he
and I
just
have
rolled
10.
his shifts over. Okay, so
for my max wounds is 10.
Go ahead and roll a d6.
D6. 6.
So the blade comes across, it slices through your helmet and slices directly into your right eye, scraping
That's
it
my
out
good eye.
as it pulls its blade back out, and Sister Nora falls prone to the ground. But you could still take a simple combat action, so you can't aim or anything, but you could still you can't do a multi-attack, but you could still fire once if you want.
Okay.
You're not unconscious, you're just
and so would I have gotten the sense that Wigbert did everything that was needed to the figure that used to be V, or is there still more?
You think that he freed him. You think that V probably himself has to do something to affect this guy, which will happen in the next round. So after this first round,
so he
next
freed
round,
him.
Yeah.
Okay, so he freed him, and that's what we think was meant to happen. Yeah. Okay, so then for whatever it's going to be worth, Nura will shoot.
Okay. His defense is currently 9.
Okay. Damn. I'll spend a wrath and a glory. Well, okay. Let's see. Does it matter? No, I shouldn't, because I need a 10 and I only have 2 dice. So
are you dying? Are you still up?
Yeah. No, she's done. She's in the.
Then you should probably do it, because you're not going to get to do this again.
Well, I mean, she has to take 5 traumatic injuries in total before she's out, but.
Yeah, just from a dice perspective, I've only got 2 dice, and they both have to be 6s for me to get to at the end 10 because of my wounds, because it's a 6, and then I'm wounded, so it'd be 10, so I don't think it's mathematically likely for me to succeed at this. So 6 successes and a complication.
The complication is, although the ritual has been disrupted, you feel the continuing building of this warp energy. So although the ritual has been disrupted, you don't think that it's been fully stopped. It may have just been delayed.
Okay.
At that moment, though, as you're laying on the ground over this thing hovering over you, you hear a screeching, horrible crashing noise as Azrael, Palatine Celeste, and Birk's grav capsule comes crashing in. Everybody give me a difficulty 5 athletics test.
Even us dying folk or just them?
The people in the elevator.
Okay.
Just them.
God damn it.
Just them for tumbling out.
Ouch.
Difficulty 5? Okay.
Yep. So Azrael's fine. You keep your feet and aren't injured by it.
That's a fail.
Okay, so
can I use my shift to go directly into combat?
well, I mean, you can jump off of it and run into the chapel, but you're a full 2 movements away from being in there. So Birk and Celeste, you each take 1 mortal wound. The complication ticks another block off on the final circle of the that we have. That's 3 blocks out of 6 are filled up on the last circle now. So
No.
I know it's horrible, but we're beginning round 2, and in that moment.
So before that, I have a Voltigei's field that lets me roll determination to soak mortal wounds. Can I roll
absolutely.
determination to soak mortal wounds?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So let me give that a try. The rest of you suckers, you can't do that. All right. So just the 1. Okay. So yeah, I'll take a point of shock,
nice.
But no wound because my field flares out and you see bzz, it's like electrical field comes around me.
That is wonderful. All right. And then at that exact moment, as you guys are piling out of the grav capsule and you're moving your way into the chapel, into this hanging blood mist, you hear this unearthly scream as Birk Talib, using the last of his psychic abilities, the last strength of his mind, burrows into the mind of Irsik Tandar and slightly severs his link to Slanesh, lowering his defense and his skills significantly. Well, at least a bit. And as you're running in, all three of you quickly see, because the mist is actually starting to dissipate too after this a little bit. You see Wigbert on the ground, bleeding out of his gut. You see Sister Nura on the ground, her helmet torn open and her eye hanging by its optic nerve against her cheek. And standing above, you see Irsik Tandar shifting in and out with this Slaneshi abomination. What would you like to do?
I would like to use my ability, the Imperium Sword.
Talk to us.
Where I'm always first to the fray. I can hurl myself into combat like a whirlwind of vengeance. I may move an additional plus ranked meters when I charge. In addition, the attack I make as part of a charge gains plus 1 ED or plus 2 ED when attacking a mob. That's just a singular guy, so it's just plus 1 ED. So I'm going to, for the first time in this damn campaign, turn this sumbitch on and start hacking away at this bastard.
I like it.
So I'll go. So with this, I would just do my chain sword. And how would I adjust my dice to this?
So what is the bonus to it?
Plus 1 ED.
So when you go in, when you pull up your chainsword, like under your war gear where it says chainsword, you click on that. Down in the second blocks, it'll say damage and then ED and then AP. Under where it says ED, under bonus, put 1.
Okay. And I will roll.
His defense is 6. You got 7 with 1 shift, so roll damage.
I'm gonna spend a wrath to reroll those.
I like it.
And we got glory. I'm gonna spend a thing of glory as well. So I always forget.
To add an ED, add an extra dice damage. Okay.
I always forget how to do.
Are we doing our bonus dice or bits for bonus damage?
Yes, you can do that
for damage.
Okay.
1
so
per.
How do I do the glory into the? So is I just roll another?
Just
D6?
roll another
extra
D6.
You gotta do it manually. There's no way to add it. That we
So
found.
reroll. Ooh. Then a D6. And do I get another D6 from the bits?
Yeah. No, it's just 1 extra point of damage. Not
One
an
extra point
D6.
of damage. Yeah.
Okay. So roll D6.
So, okay. So that doesn't do any extra damage. So what's your total damage?
Did you re-roll your thing?
I
Hit
did.
your roll damage.
Yeah, he
You
got
gotta-
a
he
critical
hasn't rolled
hit.
damage yet. But he hasn't
Yeah,
rolled
roll
yet.
damage and roll your critical hit.
Got it. Okay.
I did roll damage.
No,
You
you
rolled
rolled a
damage
hit.
before you re-rolled.
Yeah, you got to roll damage again. So,
Okay.
and roll your critical hit. 20, nice. And your critical hit. Ferocious rending.
So
So
did I do my reroll at the proper
Vulnerable's
spot?
Great.
Yeah, I
You
think
did.
you're fine.
You
You
did.
did 21 points of damage as your chainsword rends into him. His resilience soaks up a bit of that, but you do see he looks horribly wounded. And then you feel this warp energy congeal around him. And I'm going to spend a couple points of rune to do a special maneuver he's got. And although he takes the damage...
So now hold on though.
Yes.
Because I have the chainsaw warrior, I can re-roll any ED dice I choose.
Okay, you can re-roll it.
So, which dice would these? Would it just be the 2 and the 3?
No, it's just your extra dice. So you would just re-roll your 1 extra die.
You basically have successes on all of your chainsword tests, so there's no benefit to that because you
Okay.
already.
So I want to make sure that would
Well,
help out at all.
No, it's the damage dice that he gets. to
damage
reroll.
dice. So you can re-roll 1 of your damage. Just roll a
Oh.
d6.
Okay.
Still okay. So it's still just
Yeah,
21
didn't do
points of damage. And he looks horribly wounded by this for a moment. And then this black visceral blood forms around your chainsword and comes sweeping back up through your body. And although he is horribly wounded, he's cackling as 21 points of damage tear through your body. What is your resilience?
Okay.
Oh no.
My resilience is 11.
11. So you take 10 wounds. You can roll determination if you would like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Is this something I could use my reflexive action and a point of glory to take initiative with my
No, this is a
It's a reflexive
reaction.
action.
This is
Yeah.
this
Okay,
is
got
a rune action. So, okay, so 3. You can turn 10 of those. You can turn 3 of those wounds into shock and take 7 wounds if you'd like.
Okay. So 7.
And
It's
how many
definitely better.
wounds do you have now?
7.
Okay. He will also roll determination. So he soaks, turns 10 of those into shock. So he is still up, looking okay-ish. And then,
I got to do it though. That's all that really matters.
no. It was, I mean, he's hurt. He's got a big gaping wound in his chest, but he's not down. And then he spends a point of rune to take his action.
I forgot to do the flavor.
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it.
You'll see why. As I go to rip into him, I will scream at the top of my lungs as a whirling demigod of battle and ceramite. Repent, for tomorrow you will die. And that meets my
Nice.
my objective for today, which is speak a motto or saying of my chapter. So
I love it.
I get to add a wrath to
I
it.
thought you were actually gonna scream. I'm like, don't scream, don't scream.
No, I got a baby
Don't blow
sleeping
the
like
sound
20 feet that way.
So in this moment, he swings around with this giant silver blade and strikes at you because you have a chainsword buried in his chest. What is your defense?
Defense is
Now this is something where Ashley could spend glory to jump in. Like she couldn't before the reaction, but could
he
she
spent
before the attack?
ruin.
This is a rune action,
okay.
so this isn't his. He gets several rune actions per turn.
So my defense is 4.
Or
Slay me.
this will be fine. 2 shifts, okay. And what is your resilience?
It is 11.
So that takes that to 7. So that's 12, 14 wounds. You want to roll determination?
Sure.
Okay, so that's 3. So you take 3 more shock and you take 11 wounds. How are you looking?
So that exceeds my shock and
Mhm.
exceeds my wounds.
Okay, so you're exhausted and prone, and I need you to roll a d6.
So if it exceeds, do I put what it is exceeds to, or do I just put it at its max?
You max it out.
Okay. So roll d6.
Yep. So he comes around. You got this chainsword buried in his chest, and he brings the sword around and chops your hand off, and then pulls the chainsword out of his chest
I got 2
as
of
you
those.
fall back onto the ground. Now, whoever was up would like to do something. May do something.
So
Good.
Celeste previously, when she would cast the passion, when she still had at least one eye, it would kind of shine gold, almost like it had the power of the Emperor within it.
Mhm.
But she no longer has those eyes. So instead, as she reaches out and she touches her back, or her hand to the back of Talov, almost as if it's coming from her mouth, there's like a glow in the back of her throat. as she starts to recite this litany that she has come to use to bolster Talov. And as a combat action, I inspire the Emperor's Wrath. I give someone within hearing range double plus rank bonus dice to a weapon skill test.
Nice. So that's +6.
All right. And then I will spend glory to seize the initiative.
Yes.
I like it.
And then I will literally charge in, and he will say really quickly to Sister Celeste, like, goodbye. And then he will charge in and like throw himself, like just leap over top of like Azrael and just try to bring the staff down as he does.
I love it.
Okay, so I have so much fun, so long fun.
You are my favorite.
So +6, you said, Celeste?
+6, yeah.
And I'm gonna take the actual charge action, which will give me another +1.
Nice.
So I'm up to +7 on this. All right. So
his defense is down to 6 now. So
he's also vulnerable 2 from the crit that Azrael has. So he should be a defense 4 if I do my math right with vulnerable.
Yes.
All right. So that's so I have like okay. So I got to do. I have like 9 bonus die. Okay. Here we go. So that is 12 successes with 3 possible shifts, all of which will go into damage. So that's going to be plus.
You want to get a wrath point that, or
I don't, unless you thought me hijacking the elevator and like voltageisting at the bottom like a superhero.
You know, I do. I like that.
Okay.
Go ahead and give yourself a. And for all the audiences out there, he's just not pandering. I told them before we started if they do something really cool to bring it up, because it would be worth a wrath point if I failed to recognize it in the moment. So.
All right, so let me reroll all that. I'm like shaking over here. 18 successes with 4 possible shifts, all of which will go to damage. So it's gonna be +4 damage to this, and I'll take an audience die too, because you said to go all out. So that's gonna be +5 to what I roll here. Okay. So this is going to be 22 points of damage, AP 4, agonizing, brutal. So whatever he takes for wounds, he also takes for shock.
Nice. Okay, so AP 4 takes it down to 322. So you bring this staff down. What's it look like when you destroy the mortal body that is being inhabited by the Herald of Slaanesh?
I like to think like as he's running, like the electricity is already starting to course around him. Like the whatever, like what he doesn't have eyes, but they're starting to, like the sockets are glowing from Celeste's prayer. And then like he like runs over like Wigbert. I like to think Wigbert gives him like a little lift, like with a hand, so that he can start climbing up Azrael's back. And then he just leaps through the air, and with the full force of his staff, just brings it down. And then there's this explosion of electricity that kind of blinds those who can still see and kind of counters some of the darkness that's swirling around in the area.
And his physical body literally explodes out. It's coming to pieces, and then stops and hovers for a moment, and then gets sucked back into it, and then just keeps getting crunched closer and closer, and his body just becomes this fleshy ball. And then it just disappears. And then everything in the ship goes back to normal. The mist is immediately gone. Everything is clean and clear. And at that point, across your personal boxes, you hear, "This is Battle Captain Trog. We are preparing to open fire on the prerogative. What is your status, assault team?" You know that the battle barge of the Absolvers is preparing to fire.
I will answer back. The heretics have been neutralized.
Absolvers preparing to board. That's the last thing you hear, Azrael, and as you slip sort of into unconsciousness as your body starts to heal itself. And we're gonna fade away as the Absolvers come on to the prerogative, reset the warp engines, save the battle barge, And weeks pass, perhaps months pass. And our heroes, although they've been horribly injured, some of them losing body parts again, some of them having lived entire other lives that they will never be free from, have all survived. And at this point in your careers, you're all tier 4. I asked all my players to think about what their characters would be doing at tier 4. So we're going to go around, and as a way of saying farewell to these characters, since we didn't do a character introduction, we're going to find out who they are at tier 4, what they're doing. And we're going to go with the order on my screen, not the overlay. We're going to start with Jeff. Tell us about Vintael.
Okay, so I think what Birk does when he has suffered mutations. While he has not taken an injury, he has suffered a mutation, and this is probably something that he is going to have to reconcile. So I think during the time to come, he is taking several pilgrimages to a variety of shrines in an attempt to better understand what this is, because it's a test, because he views this as a test from the Omnissiah. Is this mutation something that he now needs to adopt and figure out how his augmetics are going to interact with it? Is this something that he needs to purge? And so I think at a certain point, like as he's doing this, like he probably isn't even fighting all that often, like at this point. So he's probably, even though he's such a violent weapon, he's nonetheless really begun to sort of scrutinize himself. So he starts to lean more into this scholarly view. And I think what that allows him to do over this time is maybe he kind of he has like this little bit of a following, and he starts to create this like subsect where these, various, whether they're electro priests or especially other members of the AdMech who have suffered mutation in some way, and we're trying to understand what test is put before us. So I think that's what he does, is he finds somewhere on Avacris, not in any heretical particular way, but tries to kind of group together those of like oh no, we lost Aaron in the middle of this. So he groups all these people together, now that I'm in Aaron's position, and who are in like situations, and is trying to navigate through that, kind of lead them through that. I like to think he also, because I'm just going to say this because it's my it's my epilogue, I think he gets elevated in the process to Magos Electromancer. And so like I think he's done a lot. He drinks the Kool-Aid left and right. And I think that allows him to, at this point, he is given some license to continue to explore this in a way, as long as he toes the line, right? As long as if there's ever any hint of like this small little faction, excuse me, of the Fulbright order, like as long as he doesn't go too far, like they kind of let him be. All right.
Very nice.
So that was
very
me.
Nice.
Nice.
So it's still me, because I'm here. I don't know who next would be on Aaron's screen, so I'm going to go with what's on my screen, and I'm going to go to Melissa, as that's what's next on my screen. So what happens to Sister Nura?
Yeah, so for Sister Nura, like she has from the beginning, so the Polyturnia was something like from the beginning that I had rolled in character creation of this like kind of relic that she was in search of. So any of the downtime that we've had, kind of in between missions, has been in an attempt to try to find that. So in one way, she was kind of successful in this sort of thing that she has been searching for quite some time. And so, that part of that mission, so to speak, was completed. But for her, it's just about service. So she will continue to work hard, and similar to Talov, because it's my epilogue, and I can say she becomes a canoness. So she just keeps on keeping on. She lives to serve and keeps doing so with 2 augmetic eyes, because that's where she lands after this fight.
That's the way it goes. And definitely, after saving the planet of Enoch from being turned into a warp storm in service of Slaanesh, you would definitely be on the track for Canonus. So I like that. Canonus Nora. All right. Sorry for my internet having a fit. Who's up next? Who hasn't gone?
Only Melissa and I have gone.
Okay.
Yeah, who's next on your
Azrael,
list?
talk to us.
So, Azrael, within this time, is able to find his way back to his chapter brothers, and in that time, he undergoes a series of rituals. He talks about his accolades that happened while he was on the flotilla. I think the adventures that occurred, and he undergoes rites of initiation. Months of training, of preparation, of different types of rituals that take place, and I am one of the few that decide to take the process to become within himself a Deathwing Terminator, which is the elite best of the best when it comes to Terminator. So if you don't know what Terminator is, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, it's a special type of class of Space Marine that basically take on a role of, they're a human tank, essentially. Higher class armor, higher class weapons. We are one step down from just automated death machine. And I am part of a very unique special club known as the Deathwing, and where my hand was has now been replaced by a power fist and a battle claw, as to which I can basically essentially think of 4 scythes on each finger and a 5th scythe on the thumb. And it's just this huge electrified death claw that can rend my enemies. And in the other hand, right below my arm, is a chain bolt gun where I can just deliver death at any level I want. I do not wear a helmet, for I am proud of who I am as a Terminator. And that's essentially what I've done. I've become an instrument of death for the Holy Emperor himself, and I will use this power to eradicate the heretics across the galaxy.
And so we shift from the Deathwing Terminator Azrael over to Wigbert Hahn. What does Wigbert Hahn do at this point in his life?
Yeah, once a death cult assassin, always a death cult assassin. I'm pretty much still part of the Officio Assassinorum, and I'm now training these new assassins, genetic modifications, augmenting all these new assassins that are coming, training these superhumans to fight for the Emperor. And I'm still going the occasional mission, but that's not approved unless get all the paperwork done by the High Lords of Terra that really need me sent out.
And the Ministorum and the Administratum have given you, basically sanctioned you, even though you have a mutation. This corrosive mutation is actually a benefit to you. And so they've decided, much like they accept navigators and certain other mutations, they've accepted this mutation as a gift of the God Emperor. So you were accepted and allowed to stay in the ranks. And so we see Wigbert Hahn training the next generation of assassins, but still sometimes when he sleeps, he's back in that corpse starch manufactorum, endlessly grinding bodies down. As we leave Wigbert Hahn's dreams, where do we find Palatine Celeste? Or is she still Palatine Celeste?
So Celeste is no longer a Palatine. She spends some rigorous time cleansing herself of this corruption that she has acquired, and in doing so has proven herself to be just uncompromisingly faithful. And she has become a sister dogmata,
Nice.
where she has, along with the a small group of other heavily modified sisters, they have sort of formed their own coalition where they go through and they will heavily monitor other sisters, and if they find any failure to honor the Emperor or to uphold the Imperial Creed, she viciously will put them to test and basically send them to jail or death, depending on how much they have compromised their ideals. And she does this as she continues to hunt down this cult that we dealt with, because she does want to fully exterminate that. That was her in character creation, and that was what she rolled to purge the unclean. So she does lead her team to continue to purge this cult.
So that's what we see. We see Sister Dogmata Celeste and her team of augmented battle sisters scouring the Gilead system for the cult of the flensing flesh, a never-ending crusade against the forces of evil.
And they have their own symbol. Sorry,
go for it.
They have a golden painted hand that just splays across their face, because her version of the Emperor Protects has become well known across at least the Gilead, of the hand that comes crashing down to protect her from damage.
Nice. So this team that started out months ago working through the flotilla has been forged in a crucible of fire and suffering, and they've come out the other end somewhat intact, somewhat broken, but rebuilt. And that is where we're going to end our Wrath and Glory campaign in the Gilead system with this fierce warriors. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. I hope my players have enjoyed our first toe dip into Warhammer.
Absolutely.
If you like it, if you guys want to see more, if those of you out in the world want to see more, please make comments on the YouTube or go check it out on the Discord, the Lollygaggers Discord, and just say, hey, I want to see some more Warhammer. I'd love in the future at some point to run some Imperium Maledictum or some Warhammer Fantasy roleplay. So, let us know what you think. But please come back in 2 weeks. We're going to be shifting gears dramatically. We're going to be leaving the grim, dark, far future, and we're going to be diving into some mirth and mayhem with Free League's Dragonborn. So I'm going to be running a Dragonborn campaign for a while, and it should be a hoot. It's a lot easier to kill people, so that'll make me happy. Other than that,
so sad.
Melissa will find a way.
It's like so close. I was so close. Because in the next round, lifting the curtain on rank 3, the demonettes come through the gelatin, and there are 40 of them. Wave after they come in waves of 10. Boom, 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 boom. You guys killed them before. I was like, once you split up, I was like, oh, I'm killing some people tonight. There's no way.
I know. When they split off, I'm like, oh my God, someone's dying.
But
I think it's a good thing they did, though, because they interrupted it in time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I should just blow the ship up.
Good call, guys.
I was so ready to just blow the ship up right there. But...
And the epitaph for your characters. What to the epitaph?
Yeah.
But no, we'll be back for some Dragonborn in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
So that should be a lot of fun. It's going to be a little bit of the Misty Veil, a little bit of Passive Glory, a little bit of things that I make up on my own, like I always do. So we should have some good time. Unfortunately, Justin is not going to be joining us. He's got to coach football and do real world stuff. Hopefully I can coax him back for some Imperium Maledictum after football season or after Dragonbane. So I believe Kipser is going to be joining us for
the plan.
Dragonbane in 2 weeks. So should be a lot of fun. Jeff, that's all I got. I'm going to stop talking now. It's all you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to throw it right back to you because we're going to do closing plugs, and you're going to tell us about Garblag. What's going on next week?
Next week on Garblag, I'm not 100% sure on what's going on Thursday yet, but on Wednesday, the plan is for me to jump into the GM seat there, or I should say the narrator's seat there, and start season 2 of the Marvel Multiverse Cataclysm of Kang. So I think I'm going to start off with a one-shot, the Deadpool one-shot, as a way to get everybody back in the rule set. So should have some fun with some Marvel stuff.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Well, as for Lollygaggers, next up is tomorrow. You can see a bunch of these people here as we're going to be playing Call of Cthulhu. We're continuing Eternal Lies. We are finishing Mexico City. It's a long campaign. We got a long way to go, but Mexico City is ending in quite spectacular fashion. It's going to hurt. And then Monday, Monday, we got a little special one shot. Normally, it'd be a Fragged Empire night, but we've been talking with the designer of Fragged Empire, and he's got a new game coming out called Ragtag, which is in the same universe as Fragged Empire, so space shenanigans and fun stuff. And we're going to give it a one shot before it goes up on Kickstarter. So if you want to see what that game's about, and kind of more of a rules light kind of space adventure style thing, come hang out with us then. Tuesday, another big thing. You can see Aaron, myself, and Melissa as we are starting up our new game on Tuesday, Star Trek Adventures from Odysseus 2D20. We're just going to be doing character creation, so it's going to be a session 0. We're going to be putting the crew together. So if you want to see what that's about, come hang out. Steven's back in the GM seat. Then Thursday next week, we got Simbaroom as per usual. We got a new party member. We missed the kitty though. I think we already missed the kitty. You know, if you didn't watch last night's episode, there was a cat and it was hilarious. And then Friday next week, Delta Green, and that's the plan. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything. Aaron, thank you so much for this. This is awesome. This is the first time I've really gotten to get into Warhammer 40K, other than occasional video game here and there. So looking forward to Maledictum when the time comes. All right. Okay,
that was great.
Yeah, it was really fun. I thought we were all dead. I thought you guys were dead.
So did I. I was so positive.
That's why I was like, I turned to Celeste to say goodbye. I'm like, I'm going in to die because they're just going to whatever I do to them, they're going to do back to me. And then I do too much damage. So I'm just going to kill myself. But all right. I think that's it. Melissa, raids, do you have them? DM Chromie just recently raided. Thank you very much for that raid.
DM Chromie. Thank you. High Shelf Collective and Trooper SJP. Thank you, Ashley, for making notes of those too.
Awesome. So if you haven't already checked out their channels, go ahead, check out their channels. They play games like we play games, and it'll be fun to see. All right, we're going to raid our buddies over at the Defenders of Cobalt. They are playing some Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Have a great rest of your night. Come back tomorrow for Call of Cthulhu. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.